Well, I like, for instance, the Millennium Project. Millennium Project, they have an exercise, and that was developed all over the world. I think 60 organizations did that kind of work in a particular, in most of the countries, 1/4 of the country of the world, 1/3, something like that. And it's interesting because are very, very easy futures. They are not trying to recreate the world in 2050, but there are three scenarios that they are presenting. One scenario is if we continue as we are today, okay? It's a mixed bag. I think it's that scenario. Well, some things go better, some things go worse. In average, some countries have developed some things very well, some others didn't. The same with the companies, the same with the individuals. And I like to represent that scenario with a movie. This is a very, let me remember the name. Now I forget. It's, well, it's a good future, but not very good. It's a bad future, but not very bad. So it is in the middle. There is another scenario where we didn't follow everything that we are identifying that we have to do. So everything is wrong. I mean, the scenario is not very good. Actually, it's bad because the pollution is bad. The importance of the humans in society was not protected. We were not protecting humans, so the conditions are really bad. And the other, it's if we did everything right, if we study a little about the future and we identify critical success factors and we try to accomplish those factors, and we will have a better future. We know that as humans, it won't be the better scenario, it won't be the worst scenario. It will be something in the middle, right? A little up, a little down. So we have to decide where we want to have ourselves. So in general, it's important for us, and I really thank the International Cultural Federation to creating these kind of spaces, because here we are having this, for me, are very important, strategic conversations about the future. Okay, so if we discuss about the future, not because, okay, we will generate, the future will be like this. It's not what matters. What matters is if we talk about this openly, with open minds, and we identify the risks and the opportunities, because it's huge of opportunities and huge of risks. But more importantly, is where do we want to go? If I'm a pilot, plane pilot, okay? So the most important thing is not the plane. Where do you want to go? So because if you know where do you want to go, then comes the plane, the speed, the gas, and everything. Where do we want to go? That's the more important thing. So future could be, for me, future could be excellent, marvelous, but we have to work for that future. So that is my starting statement.
I'm going to pick up on something that Nestor said, and he said that, it could be good, it could be bad, but somewhere in the middle. I really think that if we don't take action, it could be bad. And I think we can alter the course of our own future of work by paying attention to some of the trends and listening to what people want and how they are processing all the changes that have gone on. I think technology will progress and progress and progress and faster and more dramatic. And I think there'll be fewer jobs. So what are we going to do? How are we going to help individuals find purpose and meaning at work? How are we going to find work for them to do? And if we don't start to reskill and retool and think about our education system and all of the ecosystems that come together to build our future, then we really will be in trouble. It will be that worst case scenario, you know. So, you know, people are people, and you know, history is history, but we haven't changed. People are social creatures. They need connection. They want to feel valued. They like community. And we can go on and on anthropologically as we tell our stories of the ages. But again, how do we create work structures? How do we create value for our societies by finding meaningful ways that people can participate? And so we don't just have societies of haves and have nots and knowledge workers and then people without anything to do. And so I think we have to think about, how do we retool not just the world of work, but the world of education, the world of community, the world of responsibility to one another. And we really have to think about futures as being linked together in all of those ecosystems. Because technology will eat us. You know, it is an enabler, but it enables us to do away with things that traditionally were done with humans. So how are we going to teach humans other skills, other opportunities to find meaning?
May I add a comment on that because it resonates so much with me? I really agree that if we just wait, things happen, maybe it's not going a good way for everybody or for the majority. So in this sense, I think the challenge for organizations in the future is exactly to build this consciousness that help us to take good decisions to prepare the future, not just for our generation, but for the next one. So I really believe something that we can work together, I mean, universities, companies, and the society, is to think about the role of leaders at all to make it possible a better future for everyone.
An example of that, Vivian, is that, you know, in current contemporary business and the world of work, people have mandatory retirement or they find themselves, you know, retiring at 55 to 65 and that, but our health developments have given us the
Yes,
opportunity to live to 80 or 100. So how will people take care of themselves? And
exactly.
if we don't address that as a structure, as part of the infrastructure, providing opportunities for people to be purposeful at that stage of life, to share their wisdom, and economically to benefit from that opportunity to share their wisdom, then we have a social problem
Sure.
the likes of which we haven't seen before, you know, and that's just one small example of what I'm talking about.
Yes, the point here, sorry, just one comment. The
No,
point, the point here
but
is if we are a society of producers and the only thing that matters is the production of goods is one thing. Okay, if we consider that if we create knowledge or we create wealth, but real wealth for people, will be something different. So that's why for me it's very important if we start defining what kind of futures do we want and what are our values to construct those futures, because that will be completely different futures. And the name of the three scenarios where it is complicated and mixed bag was the one of the middle. The other was political, economic turmoil, future despair. There was the bad scenario. And the other was if humans were free, the self-actualization economy. There was the best scenario when we do everything we need to do, or we understand that we have to do to have a better future. And I was not trying to imply that our future will be the middle. No, no, no. In general, it's not the higher scenario, it's not the lower scenario. In general, it's something in the middle. How much for the top, or how low? But that will be depending of the kind of futures that we want, and the kind of discussion that we generate, and the kind of actions that we take.
May I add also? I think I'm thinking about many different things. One is that if we're trying to think about the future of work, it would be very important to invite the new generations to join us in this conversation. I don't know if you have actually thought about that, because on the one hand, I think we are seeing younger and younger people who have a lot of impact in the world at large through mass media, through many different technological opportunities, and also because of the innovation that they bring to the world. But we are seeing also lower levels of empathy, a lot of new younger people whose emphasis in life is money and fame. So it is very important to understand really what is moving these new generations, and I think there are plenty. And I think what Dana said about contemplating also different stages in life and the wisdom that each of us bring into the table. But also I think it's important to take into consideration that, the development of work in history has changed dramatically, but in different places of the world, many of us are experiencing like the exchange of goods that happened maybe centuries ago in some parts of the globe are still happening today. So I think that diversity and I think really bringing about values and the importance of congruency in leadership and in action. And I do believe also that something that would be wonderful if it happened was if businesses were able to realize the enormous power that they have really in the shaping of history and the shaping of policy. Unfortunately, I don't see any changes happening from the political realms. And I only see that the civil society will be able to really make changes through organizations. So I know maybe I am going off to a different route of thought, but I think that's also very important in terms of, how do we make sure that every person in our workplaces and every company in the world at large really matters and is shaping the reality and the future of our lives, both individually and collectively.